There are only 3 exercise movements you need to be doing to grow your glutes. And if you learn how to put effort into these exercises and train with structure, you'll see more progress over the next 12 to 16 weeks than you have over the last year of trying to follow random TikTok workouts. I said it. In this video, I'm going to talk you through these exercises and the different variations you can implement into your weeks. I used to go to the gym almost every day, but I didn't have structure and I wasn't training effectively, so I never saw the growth I wanted to be seeing. And I was looking at other women in the gym thinking, how are they growing their glutes? How do they look so strong? I'm here so often. I'm not seeing what I want to be seeing. One of the mistakes I was making was focusing on the exercises that were just providing a burn and making my glutes feel fired up, rather than focusing on the exercises that I should have been including for overall growth and strength. I've been training for about 14 years now, but only about 16 years of those more consistently and effectively. And I've been a qualified personal trainer and online coach for the last 6 years. So let's get into the movements. The first of the 3 movement patterns you will need to incorporate into your program in order to grow your glutes is a hinge pattern. A hinge pattern can include conventional deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, and Romanian deadlifts can be with a barbell, they can be with dumbbells, they can be single leg. It can also include good mornings. Under hinge also comes a hip thrust, and you can do hip thrusts with dumbbells, barbells, machines. A lot of people neglect a hinge movement purely because they don't really like the setup, or it takes them a little while to actually grasp the movement and feeling it in the right areas. But there is a lot of scope for growth when you incorporate one of these exercises, if not 2, into your program. The second movement pattern is a squat pattern. You're probably already doing this kind of movement in some form or shape, and it's not just your standard barbell squat. It could be a goblet squat, a dumbbell squat, a hack squat, a pendulum squat, a leg press, a form of a lunge, reverse lunges, walking lunges, lateral lunges, and Bulgarian split squats. So one mistake I usually see with these kind of exercises is that people usually neglect the unilateral work, so the lunges or the Bulgarian split squats, because they don't like them and they feel hard. But there is no other exercises that is going to build up your strength, your stability, your balance like a unilateral exercise, like a lunge or a Bulgarian split squat. Best believe that my clients have some form of unilateral work in their program, and usually they come and moan at me for it as well. They don't want it in, but they over time can see the benefits of having that in their program. If you're going to be working each leg, you're going to be getting each leg stronger at one time, and therefore when you then go in to do your compounds, which are your bigger lifts like your barbell squat, like your leg press, you will find that you will be able to build up a lot more strength and therefore see progress as well in the long run. And the third movement pattern is an abduction. So this could be in the form of a machine abductor, or it could be on the cables, so a single leg cable abduction if you don't have a machine in your gym. And if you'd like to know how to set these out into your workouts across the week, you can download my free glute growth guide by hitting the link below and follow along to those workouts in your week rather than trying to find random workouts off TikTok. Trust me, you will see much better progress. Now, the question I usually get asked quite a lot is, how many times a week should I be training in order to see growth? So we ideally want to be training the same muscle group twice a week in order to see growth. You don't necessarily need to be going to train your glutes 3-4 times a week, but if you do want to see growth 2 to 3 times a week, I would say 3 max, so that you have time to recover as well, is going to be efficient for you to be building up your strength, seeing the progress that you want to be seeing, along with ensuring that you are eating enough calories and protein. I personally train my lower body twice a week. I don't have set muscle group splits like a hamstring day or a quad day. I do 2 lower body days, and I have glute exercises as well as hamstrings and quads in my lower body days, because I have got to the point in my journey where I have built up my glutes quite a lot. I've built up my quads, I've built up my hamstrings, and I'm now at the point where I am looking for overall growth as opposed to one muscle more so than another. But if you are someone who is really wanting to focus on your glute growth, you could do a glute focus day and then a day where you maybe have your quads and glutes and your hamstrings and glutes. If you're someone who has other commitments, you're a busy gal, you're a mum, you maybe have more than one job, do not stress about getting yourself to the gym 5-6 times a week, because that's not going to be realistic. Going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week is still plenty of time. You just need to ensure that what you're doing during the workouts when you are there is effective, and you are going to be able to get the most out of your sessions. I have clients who train 2 days a week. I have clients who train 5 days a week. But what you don't want to do is undertrain or overtrain. Finding that sweet spot that's going to work for you, and you're then going to be able to be working the muscle groups in a way that you want to be working them for the progress you want to be seeing, and also without neglecting any certain muscle groups, are the things that you want to be focusing on specifically for you, rather than looking at someone else and thinking, how many times are they training? What are they training? You need to really think about what is realistic for you and then assign your days based off that. The last tip that I wanted to go through is to make sure that you are implementing progressive overload. You can have a structured program working the muscles in the way that is going to be really effective. You can have really challenging workouts. You can make sure that your nutrition is on point, you're eating your protein, you're getting enough sleep in. But if you are not implementing progressive overload at all, you're going to the gym, you're lifting the exact same weights for the exact same amount of reps every single week, you're not going to be training effectively. You're actually going to just be going there to exercise. And if your goal is to be building muscle, building shape, building that booty up, you need to make sure that you are implementing progressive overload as often as you can. And the way that we want to do this, to start with, we need to be logging your workouts. So I personally use my app to log my workouts, but if you don't have an app that you're using at the moment, you could simply just log your workouts in the notes of your phone. With your rep ranges, the one mistake I see over and over really often when I'm chatting to people in the gym, when I'm chatting to people across Instagram, is them telling me that they pretty much stop at the top end of their rep range just because it's their rep range. So if your set is 3 lots of 8 to 12, the top of your rep range is going to be 12. If you are getting to 12 and you're stopping there, but you have more reps in the tank, you're not pushing enough. So ideally what we want to be doing is your warm-up sets and then going into your work-in sets. I have done a video on how to go through your warm-up sets. I'll link that here for you just in case you want to check that out. But progressive overload can come in the form of different variations. It can come in the form of pushing yourself more with weight each week. It can come in the form of building up your reps. It can come in the form of improving the way that you're going through your exercise. If you are improving your range of motion, if you are feeling it in the right places, if you are cutting down your rest times, all of these methods are ways of you implementing progressive overload week on week. It's not going to be realistic to think that you're going to be building up your weight on every single exercise every single week. As a woman, we have our menstrual cycle and it's not really doable for us every single week, but we want to see progressive overload as often as we can, and that needs to start with logging your workouts and make sure that you are doing that very consistently, because if you're not, you're just going to the gym, you're probably not really going to remember the last time that you went up in weight or what you need to be doing in order to focus on progressive overload for this week's sessions. So log your workouts. If you managed to get to the top end of your rep range last week, then going into this week, you might think, do you know what, I'm going to try and bring that weight up and see where I'm at. Learn your limits. But progressive overload is super important. And like I said, you could be doing absolutely everything, following a structured program, hitting the gym multiple times per week really consistently, making sure that you're eating your calories, eating your protein, but you're not going to see progress if you are not training effectively. So just to summarize, there's going to be 3 movement patterns that you can incorporate as part of your program to see glute growth: a hinge pattern, a squat pattern, and an abduction. You can download my free glute growth guide to see how you can pop these exercises into workouts across your week, and your kind of lifestyle, your commitments will determine how many times realistically you can train per week. Make sure that is doable for you. You don't want to be training 4 or 5 days one week, 2 the next, 3 the next. Pick a realistic target and be consistent with it. And lastly, implement progressive overload. Push yourself, girl. Step outside of that comfort zone because you know you can, and just watch those glute gains come through. I'm going to leave it there for today. I hope that you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.